What's going on in Green Up Academy podcast listeners? I am Alex Kirby, your host of the Green Up Academy podcast, where we help green industry businesses level up their companies one episode at a time. This is a fun episode with a guy named Greyson Sawyer. He has a $1 million company in Hickory, North Carolina. Greyson, when I met him, he only had one employee, and now he's gotten 9. He has done extremely well. But also, this interview and this discussion with him helps explain the challenges of scaling and growing, and also shows how important it is to keep your family at the center of your business. So you guys are going to be in for a treat with this discussion here with Greyson Sawyer.
Welcome to the Green Up Academy podcast with Alex Kirby, where we focus on helping you level up your green industry business. Whether it's marketing, finance, employees, or strategy, we talk about everything on this show to help you apply it to your business and change your family and company's future for decades to come. Here's your host, Alex Kirby.
Greyson, talk about, so fill me in kind of, I know we met at Equip, but fill me in on the story of like, what made you, I love the story of why people get in the industry more than how they started. Why did you start doing this, and what made you, start growing your company and stuff like that?
So, well, when we started, I was doing it strictly at the very beginning. I was strictly doing it just to make some extra cash. It was kind of a side gig for me.
What was your full-time job?
So I started actually mowing grass just in high school. Like my senior year, I was picked up a few yards, whatever. So I was doing it just to make some extra money, just to get by, gas money and stuff, high school or whatever. And then I started going to community college, and I was still doing that. And I did that for like a year and a half. And then I was kept picking up more yards, getting busier with it, which was good. But it was getting a little, it was getting pretty busy. But then I also I met my wife, and I had met her, I guess a couple years before a couple years into mowing and stuff. And we were actually long distance and stuff. So we wanted to get married at some point. So I ended up taking another job and with the USPS Postal Service. And so I was working there, I was cutting grass, and I was going to school. And so it was getting hectic, getting crazy. We ended up getting married. I was done with school, but I was still doing both jobs, and I was doing post office stuff. It was part-time too, but they were both part-time, but the mowing the grass started in the summer, started getting really almost full-time. And I was like, man, it was kind of one of those things. I didn't know if I wanted to do it full-time at first. I was just like doing it because I wanted to make some extra money. It was help supporting the income for sure, but I didn't know if I wanted to do it as a full-time gig or not. Well, I was like, I didn't really like the post office stuff anyways. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to trust in God and just do it. Just jump out and do it, and then we'll just see what happens. So that's what I did.
What year was that?
2017 is when I jumped out and took it full time.
Me too, buddy. Sweet. Same.
And it was a little bit slow in the beginning. It was just me. I was just mowing grass. I didn't have much landscape work. So my biggest concern when I quit the other job was winter. I was like, you know what? I'm by myself. I don't have any other plans other than just mowing some grass. I had like 20 clients, which was a good, in the summer wasn't a lot, but it worked out. It was good enough. And I was like, well, now that I quit the other job, I'm just going to go all in on, trying to get more work. I didn't know a thing about marketing. I didn't know a thing about like a business. I didn't know anything. So I was a little slow in the beginning. Like I look back and I'm like, man, I could have grown it way quicker. Yeah. But it is what it is. And we took it slow the first couple of years. I ended up I think 2017 was just me. And then 2018, I hired a part-time guy, and then he turned to full-time in 2018. So it was me and a guy. And then 2019, I think we ended up hiring a second guy. And then by 2020, we were doing projects on Fridays and Saturdays. We were mowing like Monday through Thursday. Yeah. And we were getting pretty busy with like projects. The name was growing. Mm-hmm. And so by 2020, we were so busy in 2019 with projects on like Fridays, Saturdays. It was like we were booking out for like 3 or 4 months on projects because I only had, 1 or 2 days a week to actually do them. Right. And so I got to the point where I was like, I'm going to try this. So I hired, or I think I had 2 guys. I was like, look, you guys are going to mow the route, and then I'm going to start trying to do projects on my own, with another truck. I got another truck, and ended up shortly hiring another guy. So I had a guy with me, and it's propelled pretty fast since then. We've grown a lot in the last couple of years with projects.
So tell everybody where you're at now in 2024. You've got how many guys, how many crews, and all that?
So we got 9 guys, and we are running 2 mow crews, and we do anywhere from 1 to 2 projects at a time. It's according to the job. If it's bigger stuff where we need more hands on deck, we send all 5 guys to 1 project, or which majority of the time we are doing 2 jobs a day. So most days we're running 4 crews.
Awesome.
And anywhere from we do a lot of different types of work in the project side. We do down to just trimming bushes and mulching, up to patios, retaining walls, and outdoor living spaces. So
awesome,
we do a wide variety of stuff, and projected to hit hopefully around $1 million this year.
Heck yeah, man, that's awesome. You're fun to talk to, Greyson, because around that $1 million is when things change a lot. When you're in terms of adding your team. So when we hit $1 million, we hired my first operations manager type guy. So checking on the crews and quotes and customer service and all that. And we hired an admin. So it was me, admin, and manager for 5 crews. What has it been like this year? Tell people who think about having multiple crews, what has it been like this year trying to do the owner role, the hiring, the HR, the cash flow, the managing? Like, what has that been like for you, good and bad? Give me the good, give me the bad.
So, it's good. My goal from the very beginning, well, I say the very beginning, not the very beginning, but when we started doing projects, my goal was, look, when I'm 45 years old, I don't want to be out there in the field. My goal was to get out of the field, and kind of get to where we're at, or, further along, and manage jobs. It's been good. I've enjoyed it. I'm not in the field a lot at all anymore. Once in a blue moon, I jump out there and help the guys if need be. It's been good. I enjoy, I'm not one that loves to sit in the office all the time. So I definitely need, I think that office admin. So that's kind of the bad, is I'm not a sit in the office all day type of guy. But we are, it's good. And I enjoy where we're at. And I knew that, for my body and for me having energy to play with my kids and have other, I didn't want to be in the field super long term. I'm not that old yet, but I was like, look, when I'm 40 years old, I don't want to still be out there, doing this stuff. So that was the goal. So we got there. That was good. The bad, it can be tough. We're, cash flow. We have cash flow issues sometimes. You have those clients that they're net 30, net 60, whatever. Mm-hmm. You can have, it's like you got the money, you just don't have it yet, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that can be tough. Like I said, I'm not a big office person. So sometimes I'm like, banging my head against the table.
Yeah, bogged down. Yeah.
I want to be out there on a excavator or something like that rather than this, but we're learning and growing, and it's been good. It's been tough at times. You got project managing and trying to run everything at one time can be stressful. Sometimes you're trying to manage a couple job sites at one time. You're getting complaints or having issues with the mow crew. Somebody a belt broke, and you got all these different things going different directions, and you're trying to send quotes to 15 people, and people's wanting to hear back from you. So it can be a lot to juggle, especially like right now. I'm in that point to where I don't have an office admin. I don't truly have like that operations manager totally. So I'm like trying to do a lot of things. So it can be stressful at times. So good and bad, but we're enjoying it.
That's great. Let's talk about that for a second. So basically, this is like what people don't understand. I always say this phrase: you have the revenue, you don't have the money. Meaning, like you've done the work. It's just like it hasn't reached your bank account yet, and that's where people just don't quite understand, or those who do, is like cash flow is king of the business. Because let's say, I don't know how much you have in the bank. I don't want you to tell me, but let's say you had $125,000 in your account right now, which is 12% of revenue, which isn't crazy. I think I tell people 8 to 10% is good. You would hire an ops manager and an admin right now.
Yeah.
Right. So
Absolutely.
If you had that, let's say you make a goal of like by April 1st, you have that number, then it gives you the ability to hire those people and go, even if I just break even for a couple months while I train them, no big deal. Break even meaning minimal profit, not literally 0%. But so that's like where people go, how do I scale? Like that's a question I get all the time. Well, you have to run this race you're doing, which is juggle 3 roles at one time. I'm the owner, I'm the operator, and I'm the admin. Like that is the 3 roles. And then you have to hire what you're worst at first. So because, so that thank you for being kind of the inside of that, because people always ask the question of like, how do I do it? Well, cash flow's number 1. And then juggling number 2, and then hiring what you're worst at is kind of the 3rd step. So that's great. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about you in the off season doing, getting that person, at least one of them hired maybe by the spring, and then the second one going in the spring. Is that kind of the hope?
Yeah, the goal is to, I was actually thinking about hiring like an office admin part-time, because at first it may be kind of part-time anyways, but the goal was to hire them maybe sooner. But I've kind of revamped my goals here lately, and I think we're going to try to bring them on maybe like January or so, train them up before the busy season, and then have them rocking and rolling by spring.
Very smart. That's very smart, because you do not want to throw them into the fire. I did that one time. I hired my highest paid role right before I sold the year before. She was an ops manager, and she was fantastic. But I hired her February, and water hose, man. I mean, just that sucker hit, that spring rush waterfall just hits like a ton of bricks. Yeah. Okay. So hey, I know one thing about you, a lot of people would find interesting, is that the gas stations thing that you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to people about how you got that and how you manage it. And just because I think everyone's dream is to get like 25 gas stations or 25 banks or whatever. Like that's, if you go to Equip, and when we go to Equip in a couple weeks, everybody will be like, man, I wish I had 20 gas stations. You do have that. Talk about how that happened and the pros and the cons of that.
Yeah. Well, so it's only 10 right now.
Okay. Only 10.
They're really good accounts. We actually, it kind of fell into our lap. It was awesome. Obviously, one account doesn't make up everything. So we try to be pretty diversified and have, a lot of other accounts. We have a lot of residential maintenance accounts, but they're a store that is growing really heavily. So it's going to continue, I believe, to evolve to where we're going to get a lot more stores. But it kind of fell in my lap. The guy that's over the maintenance for these stores, he's our regional manager, and he kind of just emailed me out of nowhere. I guess we had a new store opening up about 20 minutes from here, and he was looking for somebody in this area to do it. Yeah. And anyways, it worked out. We priced it and we got it. And then he had another guy doing a lot of stores in our area, and it wasn't really going too good. And he was looking for to make a change. So we ended up taking over all those stores. And then since then, we've also had another 2 stores open up that we've took over. Because they're building new stores constantly, so we're gonna continue to grow with them. So that's a really good thing. So it's a good account for sure. We get all the mowing, we get all the fertilization, we get spring fall cleanups, and so it's a store. It's a high end store. They like to keep it really nice. So we're not. It's not just like a quick service, and they don't care. They really care about the appearance. Yeah. It's a high end, nice gas station.
What's the payment terms? Is that tough or?
No, it's actually great. And most commercials hard with, we got some other commercials that are net 30, net 60 even. And so those are hard. But no, this one's good. It actually works out awesome. You get a ticket when you go in the store after you service it. They give you a receipt, just like you would go up to the counter to buy something. Yeah. You just tell them what you did. Like say, hey, we mowed today, or we mowed and trimmed the bushes today or whatever. And then they'll give you the receipts. And you don't even have to invoice. They literally buy that receipt. It goes in their system. You get a ACH payment within 15 days. So within 15 days, you're paid for that service. And so now constantly I'm just getting emails showing the remittance report from where they've sent it into the bank. So
net 15 is, I think, what commercial places should do. I think
I do too. Absolutely.
I know why they do it, but
yeah, same.
When I first started, we had a home builder that was my biggest long-term customer, and they were net 15. Or actually, they were net like, if you turned it in on a Wednesday, you got paid the next Friday, so net 10. But
right.
Yeah, that's good. Dude, it's so funny. Your phone is blowing up. This is the admin thing. This is so funny. Like, it's fun. It's funny because I literally remember this like it was yesterday, where I'm trying to do like, imagine you weren't on the podcast right now and you were just trying to do a quote, like type up a quote. It's impossible. You've had 5 or 6 texter calls in the 10 minutes we've been talking.
I know. It's all day, man. You know, I'm
all day
project managing, so I got guys calling me. I've got new clients sending calls and texts, and it's just how it is. I mean, obviously, I think that's why I do. I need to get to the point where I got somebody in admin answering the phone and other things, because, it's hard. I'll be sitting here trying to do quotes, and it's like, it's impossible. You never can buckle in because you got constant distractions. So.
Do you have 2 phones yet? Do you have an office phone and then your personal phone?
Yeah, I've had 2 phones for probably over a year.
Yeah,
and
that was a huge help.
On the weekends, I'm like, look, I know business is good or whatever, and you want to answer the phone, but on the weekends, I try to spend time with my family, and we turn off the work phone. And then like if I'm out of town too, my foreman that kind of does a little bit of operations management, he keeps the phone when I'm out of town, so it's kind of it works out good. So the work phone's kind of its own separate.
I'm crazy enough to where I have my own work phone for people. And then I had a business work phone for like the number, and then I have a personal phone. So I had technically 3, but I left the office one at the office all the time.
Right. Yep. And that's what we get to when we get to a office admin. We'll probably either have like a dedicated phone for the office where it either stays at the office or whatever, and whoever's answering it, it's at the office during office hours. And then I'll probably do the same thing. I'll end up having another 2 phones to
it's been
personal
huge,
business.
Man. It's huge for me. Definitely huge for me.
Absolutely.
So, Greyson, let me ask you this. I know I got to run here in a minute, but no, you're good. You need a second?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Your family means a lot to you. Your goal, like, talk through your goals for your family with your business, because something that happens a lot with guys I talk to, their goals are so short term. I'm trying to provide a better life, whatever that means, or just trying to make it, trying to buy a better house. Like, you seem like the guy to me that has a much more detailed plan for your family. Talk through like how your family, what it means for your business, how you've made your business plan around that. Yeah, I'd love it if you just share that.
Yeah. So in the beginning, like I said, I didn't have a long-term plan, because I was just like, we're just growing this thing, just trying to figure it out as we go. But the last couple of years, I've had more of a goal of like, I don't know, like a revenue goal or that type of thing exactly. But I just know that I want to get this thing to where it's running without me being so involved, because my biggest thing with my family is I want to be there. I want to be there for my kids. I want to be there for my wife. I want to be able to be around, because I've heard so many stories with guys that are growing these really large companies that they sacrifice too much. Growing a company is awesome, and I have big goals to help my family out, and that's growing this thing is for my guys and my family and for us, but I don't want to sacrifice my family along the way. I've heard so many guys that are growing, you grow a $10 million company and they get divorced along the way. Their kids hate them, whatever. You hear a lot of stories like that. And some of these really large companies, they got there quick, but the reason they got there quick was because they sacrificed everything. And I'm like, I'm not willing to do that at all. I'm my family's first, God's first, and my family's second. And so I'm definitely that's kind of a goal, is to grow it at a pace to where we grow good and we're doing well and
sustainable.
Yeah, but sustainable to where my family doesn't I don't sacrifice my family or family time. So I'm trying to grow to where I still spend a lot of time with my family. My son's getting ready to start sports. He's 5. I want to be at every practice, at every game. I want to be like, I want to be the dad that he, needs me to be. And I have a daughter too. And so that's the biggest thing is like, I have long-term vision for the company. And that is for the family. Cause if, I want to get to a point to where, we can have those nicer things and the company doesn't run so heavily on me that I'm constantly, but like along the way, while I am grinding this company takes a lot of my attention, a lot of my time. I still want to do it to where, Maybe we won't get there quite as fast, but I want to get there where I still was able to be a good dad and a good husband along the way. So that's my biggest goal, is to be present and to be a good dad and good husband, and still grow the company. But if it goes a little bit slower because of that, so be it. I'm not here to grow this thing so heavy that it sacrifices my family.
I love that, man. I when I sold my company last year, I was reminded, like, nobody's giving out a trophy here for how big or great your company is. Like, when I sold my company, almost nobody called me and said anything. They pick a new person, they move on. It's like we think our business means so much, and we give everything for it, but in the grand scheme of things, we're a blip on the radar, and our kids and our wife, they're the ones that God's entrusted us with for the whole eternity of our lives. And so why do we sacrifice for these people who don't really care? I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, all right, let me ask you two more quick questions. Tell people, because they're going to listen to this before Equip, what do you love about Equip? What should they do? Just like your Equip 101 advice.
Yeah. I've been 3 years, so this will be year 4. I love it every year, to be honest with you. My number one reason, and this may not even be a great reason, because some people may look at it like you need to be going with so much intention and this and that. My biggest reason is it's been a long season. Fall's really hectic for us. I love to get away for a minute. It's a little small vacation for me, to be honest, because I kind of just relax a little bit. The fall craziness is kind of over. So that's really actually my biggest reason of going, is I wouldn't say my biggest reason, but that's a big reason I like to go. But I also love it. I love to see all the new equipment. My biggest, thing is I want to talk to people and hear, other things and learn. And I definitely do go with the intent to learn. And I want to learn and be, a sponge and soak up stuff. And if there is equipment that I think we need to take a look at, because everything's always changing, then, we're there to do that. But I definitely like to do it to get away. It's a good time to get away. And then also still, it's kind of a dual purpose. I'm going to kind of chill out, but I'm also still there to learn, still there to see some new cool stuff, and see if we need to make any changes or moves in the company, and definitely talk and, see what other people have to say and what other people are doing.
I mean, the only reason you and I are talking is because I sat at your random table at that event that one time at Equip. Like, it's so, I tell people the same thing. I say it helps me reset, refocus, and re-energize.
Yep.
Like, it is such a good end of the one season and then going into a planning season. It's so nice, that transition. The second one is networking. Like, you can learn from guys in your same situation and pick some nugget that they're doing that you might not have thought of, right? So learning and rubbing shoulders with people who are in your, because it's a lonely road, man. Like, nobody in your town knows, very rarely do they really know what you're going through. So to be in a room full of guys, that's why we're having our event that Wednesday, is there's going to be 25, 30 guys there that your same conversations can be had. And they say, well, have you thought about this? And you're like, man, I never thought about that. That is so good.
Yeah.
And then the third one is learning. Like, I think this will be my 6th or 7th time. I learned about Jobber there. Jobber changed my business forever. I learned about bookkeepers that knew landscaping there. That changed everything for me. I learned about Ballard. I saw Corey Ballard speak there. That was where I found him. And he's been a huge part of my journey and helping me with my business. I mean, the list goes on. Bobcat mowers. That's where I first got on a Bobcat, and I had, 10 units, So you could not be more right. And I can't wait for it. It's the one thing I try to tell people not to do is just walk around and just look at stuff and take pictures and be like, that's cool. Like, do it with a purpose. So like, if you make notes, then at least go write a few things that, could help your business the next day. Like, the thing that frustrates me at times, frustrates me for others, is they go and they just walk around and get the free stuff. And they're like, that was fun. I'm like, man, like, that's like 10% of it. You don't waste this 48 hours, because it's basically 48 hours, Yeah. Because I'm flying in Tuesday this time, so I can go to that cool Churchill Downs event Tuesday night. Did you know about the kickoff event at Churchill Downs?
Yeah, I knew they did that, or I'd heard or something about it, but we're not going to make it. We're going to be there. We're going to leave real early Wednesday morning and be there by the time show opens Wednesday.
Yeah, because you're in North Carolina, so 5.5, 6 hour drive.
6 hours. Yeah,
that's not bad. I'm like 8 hours, and I do not want to drive 8 hours. The biggest reason is because I don't want to drive 8 hours home on Friday.
Yeah, that's not the trip home's never fun.
No, especially for me because I got the event Wednesday, and then I'm doing a meet and greet at the Bobcat booth on Thursday. So I got to do some stuff, so it gets a little tiring. But cool. All right, Grayson, let me ask you the last thing, buddy. This is something I like to do. What would be the piece of advice you would give somebody, whether it be encouragement or watch out? Like keep going, or man, I made this really big mistake and I don't want you to do that. What would you tell somebody who's listening right now? Imagine there's 300 people in a room listening to you talk right now. What would be the thing you leave people with?
I guess I need to think about that.
I know it's a big one.
Yeah. I guess just get around the right people and hire out what you're not good at. I'm obviously not totally there yet. I'm getting there, but in the beginning, I know you got to kind of push through and get everything, do as much as you can yourself and stuff. But if you're not good at something, or you're getting, it's not kind of in your wheelhouse, or you need to be focusing on something else, hire it out. Like I have an accountant and a bookkeeper and a coach and different things that help you along the way, that help you and guide you, because you can't, and then other mentors too, and just people that you talk to. Get around people and find the right people, because that'll help propel you so much faster if you can get around the right people and have those right kind of connections. When you do, in the beginning, I didn't have that as much, and I didn't know anybody, and I just was just doing what I knew. But the thing is, once I started like learning and talking to other people, networking's a huge thing. And I know you know that. Like, I mean, getting around the right people is so big. And so that's probably what I would say is find somebody, find a mentor, find a dude that's in your town if you need to. I mean, I know everybody don't share all their information, but or go, whatever. Find somebody that can be a mentor. Ask a lot of questions. In the beginning, I was just like, just didn't know what I didn't know. And I'm like, now if I looking back on it, if I would have done some of that networking earlier and talked a lot and tried to figure out things by networking, it would have propelled me a lot quicker. But even when I started doing that, it did propel me. I was able to get around people and find the right people to talk to. And even listening to podcasts and YouTube and stuff like that, that helped me a ton in the beginning. And it still helps me. Because in the very beginning, I didn't know about any of that stuff. And it's like, you feel like you either don't know what you're doing or you feel alone or whatever. So getting around the right people and networking, I think, is one of the biggest things you can do to help you grow and help you, get where you need to go.
I agree, buddy. Thank you so much, man. You're always one of my favorite people to talk to as someone else is trying to call you. You're so funny, dude. I love talking to you, Grayson. I love it, man. And it's awesome to see from when I met you to where you are today, just how God's blessed your business. And I don't think it's stopping. I think you're going to get to that $3 to $5 million mark. It sounds like to me.
That's the plan. I mean, like earlier, I didn't go much further with that, but we do have long-term goals with the company. Is to my biggest thing is, even if it doesn't have a direct revenue number on it, my biggest thing will be to get to a point where we can have officers in place in the company to where it can run itself. That's the thing. When even in the point that I'm at right now, if I were to dip out for, just being honest, if I were to dip out for a month and didn't say a word, I don't know how good things would look when I got back. I don't think it would look very good. We don't have I'm the salesman. Like, I want to get to the company to a point to where it has officers and people in place and systems in place, and we're trying to grow systems. So that's the biggest goal with growth, is to get things in place to where it's not dependent so much on one person, because that's not a true company, really. You got to have people in place and systems and processes that help run it. So that's a long-term goal, is whatever revenue number that may be, but it's to have a true company that's running itself based off of systems and a lot of officers and people in place in the company.
Love it, man. Well, guys, this is Greyson Sawyer from Sawyer's Landscaping up in Hickory area, North Carolina. Thank you, Greyson, so much, man, for being on the show. I look forward to seeing you at Equip, buddy, and you get back to answering your phone and getting to work, all right?
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye.